So before we start this week's episode of For Fun Friday, we have an absolute ton of patrons to shout out, so bear with me for a moment, would you? First of all, we've got both Shadow Hokron and Akorion, the man himself, joining the Squire tier. Thank you kindly, sirs and or madams. Then we've got a new warrior in Kurama Ninetails. Then we have two new nobles in form of Lardax and Rune Manatike, who both upgraded from knights, a new hero in Zero Yue, who upgraded from noble, and lastly, we have the ultimate pledge itself. Chaosbringer Tom has become the one and the only Dragoon. You should fear his power, because his wish will soon be granted. A massive thanks to everyone that has chosen to pledge towards the channel. Your contribution goes straight into making more content. Now, for this week's episode of For Fun Friday. Greetings once again, and welcome back to For Fun Friday, the show where I, your somewhat caffeinated host, appears on camera yet again now that I seem to finally have gotten the damn thing working as it's supposed to, but then again, you see the glare of my glasses like you usually do. Today, we're playing yet another requested For Fun Friday deck, this time brought to you by Zero Yue, our newest hero supporter, and we're gonna be playing... That's the wrong direction. TRAPTRIX. I'll never get used to how the camera's supposed to be, man, but we're playing TRAPTRIX today because, hey, some people are trap enthusiasts, what can I say? So, as always, if you enjoyed this type of content, do remember to click the like button down below, subscribe if you haven't already, do consider the Patreon and YouTube membership, because that is how this deck was requested. I almost did the wrong direction again. Regardless, today we're playing TRAPTRIX, an really old, I would say, trap archetype that has actually seen some competitive play back in the day, though it's kind of fallen out of favor recently. More importantly, though, they have gotten an amazing new asset in Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Basically speaking, it protects your back row by revealing it from your hand, and then if you activate said back row during your next turn, you get to summon it. It's just a giant beats deck that does everything TRAPTRIX kind of wants it to do. So, Zero Yue requested we make a TRAPTRIX deck featuring Lord of the Heavenly Prison. So I have. Is it as good as I'd want it to be? No! But I also don't play TRAPTRIX, so who cares? Let's go through the card by card very quickly here. We have 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison, the card we really want to see in our starting hand. This card's insane, as I explained earlier. We're running 2 Parallel Exceed, simply because this is a very reason to go into one of our multiple rank 4s. It's kind of good to have. We're then playing 2 TRAPTRIX Dianea, which you'll come to find that all of the TRAPTRIX are immune to the effect of whole normal traps. So anything that has hole in the name, like Floodgate Trap Hole, Trap Hole, whatever you want, they are immune to it. When it is normal summoned, we can target TRAPTRIX in our graveyard and special summon that target in defense position, which again just facilitates our rank 4 stuff. When it's special summoned, we can target a whole normal trap card in our graveyard and set that target, but banish it during the end phase of your next turn if it's still on the field. Basically recycling our normal trap holes. We then have Myrmelio. Myrmelio is also unaffected. When this card is normal summoned, we can add a whole normal trap card to our hand, and if it's special summoned, we can target a spell trap our opponent controls and destroy it. Then we have Mantis. If this is normal summoned, we can add a TRAPTRIX monster from our deck to our hand. Kind of nice. And then once per turn as a quick effect, we can target a set spell trap card we control and return that target to the hand, and then set 1 spell trap from our hand. This is particularly useful for stuff like Shade Brigandine if our graveyard is full of trap cards. We can set whatever trap card we want to use on our opponent's turn. If we don't end up using it, we can bounce it back to our hand to set Shade Brigandine so we can do our rank 4 shenanigans following the turn after. Then we're playing 2 TRAPTRIX Vishulio. I think that's how that's pronounced. We can only use the effect of Vishulio once per turn, and only once that turn. We can send 1 set card we control to the graveyard, special summon this card from our hand, and if you control no cards in a spell or trap zone, we can banish this card from our graveyard, then target a whole normal trap in our graveyard and set it to our field. Just more recycling. We're then playing 1 hand trap in this deck. We're playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring simply because it is the most versatile one we have available, and for something that plays such heavy control as we're already doing, we're basically going to lose going second anyway. 3 Pot of Prosperity because it is the best search card for our deck. 3 Compulsorily Evacuation Device because this thing kills a lot of decks in the format and should not be underestimated. We then run 2 Floodgate Trap Hole and 2 Gravedigger's Trap Hole simply because they are the best options for what we intend to do. Floodgate, of course, flips whatever was summoned face down and it can't change the position, and Gravedigger protects us from hand traps and other graveyard shenanigans. Also deals 2,000 damage. 2 Ice Dragon's Prison, a very, very good card in the format currently because a lot of decks share typings. 3 Lost Wind, which is a card you generally see in budget decks, but this thing is insane for TRAPTRIX. it will negate a special summon monster's effect and halve its attack, which is the important part about this. Secondly, if your opponent special summons something from the extra deck, you get to set this card back from your graveyard and then banish it when it leaves the field. It's very, very good, surprisingly. Phantom Knights of Shade Brigade, we're running 3 because we are facilitating rank 4 shenanigans, and this is just another enabler. It also triggers Sarah, which is insane. 3 Torrential Tribute, just a really good card. 1 Imperial Order, and 2 Solemn Strike. We are not playing TRAPTRIX in this deck, specifically because we intend to swing back on turn 3 using our extra deck, and TRAPTRIX sort of stops us from really running as many control tools as we'd like to do during our turn, even if it does help facilitate more options, supposedly. Extra deck. 2 Sarah. Sarah is immune to trap effects, and then it has 2 effects other than that. If a normal trap card's activated, we can special summon a TRAPTRIX monster from our deck with a different name than the cards you control, and if another TRAPTRIX monster's effect is activated, we can set a whole normal trap directly from the deck. It does exactly everything the deck wants it to do, and it's great. We also have a link 2 these days, which is Kalaria. Kalaria, similarly, is also immune to trap effects. You can use each of the following effects of it once per turn. If we activate a whole trap card, we can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard, meaning we just get to recycle our trap cards. Then, during the end phase, we can target a TRAPTRIX monster in our graveyard and special summon it in defense position, which again triggers one of the TRAPTRIX's effects. We're then running 1 Boral Sword Dragon as well, because there are certain situations where we need to go for the OTK, and this card does it very well. We're then running 1 Rafflesia. You've probably seen this card running around, as it is the Nibiru protection. Basically speaking, if there is a trap hole in our deck that meets its activation requirements, we can detach 1 material from Rafflesia and then activate the effect from the deck. 1 Abyss Dweller. You've seen this card plenty before. 1 Exciting Knight, because coming back from going second is quite hard for TRAPTRIX, and Exciting Knight helps. 2 Allomeris, acting as our generic game ender. Basically speaking, if we destroy an opponent's monster by card effect, we are able to special summon one of the destroyed monsters by detaching 2 material. It's very good. Gallant Granite is in here in order to search Lord of the Heavenly Prison. That's for some reason a rock. Time Thief Redoer is just a generic good rank 4 target, as everybody knows. Utopia and Utopia the Lightning, just so we have some punching power, as well as Zeus. That's the general gist of the deck. Let's give it a spin and see what TRAPTRIX can do. Also introducing for, I think, the first time, at least in my content, there we go, Omega has updated its default theme now. It now looks like this wacky fucking cyberpunk looking thing, and I absolutely adore it. This theme is one of my favorite things they've done. I really like it. So we're going to be playing with it zoomed up this time, because it'd be nice for you to see what we're doing. We are here going to just set 2 trap cards. We're going to normal summon TRAPTRIX Mermelio, and we will activate its effect. We will add ourselves probably a Gravediggers here, because we already have access to everything else. We will set a Gravediggers. We'll make ourselves Sarah, and we will activate the effect of Lord of the Heavenly Prison in hand to reveal it and protect our back row. Then we just kind of end our turn. We don't really have anything else on that. Our opponent then, what are they going to do against our absolute set 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison pass? This basically means that they are unable to destroy our set cards in the back, so we are going to be free to use both Floodgate, Gravediggers, and Torrential, hopefully. It's going to be zombies. We're going to be looking at Mizuki. Okay. This is a little bit scary. Mizuki is a big, big boy. He's going to activate Vampire's Desires. Ooh. That's a really cool play. Finally, someone actually picking up and playing vampires, or vampire zombie. I don't know what they're doing, but goddamn, I'm liking it. I'm gonna let it resolve simply because I kind of want to see where it can go with this. I am really curious to see what vampires can do. If he could decide what he wants to activate, of course, you never know. He is very much thinking about it. Okay, he did dump the Vampire Retainer, which I kind of expected. If it's special summon, he gets to add a Vampire Spell Trap. It also makes the Mizuki level 2, which doesn't really matter, but he is now able to banish it to send a vampire card from your hand to the face up, then special summon it. Yeah. I think here we actually go ahead and we activate Gravediggers, negating the effect, dealing 2,000 damage to them, and then activating Sarah to special summon a TRAPTRIX. And we missed our activation for Lord because I'm stupid, because I forgot how the chain works. But it happens, you know? Yeah, now the real question is, which one do we go for here? Mermelio has no effect here. We're just gonna go for Dionea. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. We will still trigger Dionea to set the Gravediggers again. which does trigger Sarah to allow us to set another floodgate trap hole. We are basically just filling out the back row with the help of Sarah here. Unfortunately, I did screw up the Lord of the Heavenly Prison trigger, but that's because I clicked too fast. Remember to read your cardboard, kids. Cardboard crack is lethal to a lot of people, and you should be careful when you do, because if you don't, you'll end up like me, who completely forget how cardboard works. Regardless of that, though, it does appear our opponent can't really do a lot off of that now that they pitched their Shadow Vampire and did not get to special summon the Retainer. So they are just going to set 2 and probably punch into Sarah, I would assume. That's, at the very least, what I would have done here. It is looking very much like that is the case, yes. We will end up taking it. Fraulein is going to get activated, which is very exciting, because that means we do get to trigger the Torrential Tribute here. Which is going to trigger the Lord of the Heavenly Prison, now for real this time. Which does let us set a spell trap directly from our deck, which is super interesting. We are going to choose to set a Ice Dragon's Prison here. Because this means if he does do some zombie shenanigans, we can stop it with IDP, which is probably our best choice. Lord of the Heavenly Prison is also now on the field, which is insane. We get a Vampire Awakening. Summon something from your deck. I think I'm going to just Ash Blossom this and not let him special summon one. This, of course, is going to trigger Sarah, which this time is going to special summon Mermelio. Mermelio is going to trigger, allowing us to pop the back row, and that's going to be the end of the game, folks. Trap control, man. TRAPTRIX still has it. Let's go for another game and see how well that's going to go. Alright then, second game up against Dark Lab, and we are forced to going second here, which is, of course, the worst of the options for us. Let's see how bad it's going to get. Set 1 pass. Apparently, not very bad. That's shocking. Let's go ahead and normal summon Mermelio. We're going to activate Mermelio and probably get negated, considering he is thinking about it. Or he's just never seen Mermelio in his entire life, which, to be honest, I would not hold it against you. I haven't seen Mermelio that often either. T-kaboo! Oh, that sucks for us. Oh, that's terrible for us. Okay. That's really, really, really bad. We could trigger Lord here, which I think we're actually going to do. Lord is a rock, so it doesn't matter. We kind of have access to it. Luckily for us, the normal monsters are all insects, meaning we are still able to put out Sarah, because Sarah is a plant. But unfortunately, we kind of just have to set 2 here and not really do anything other than punch for 38. T-kaboo really sucks on us specifically, because we aren't able to put out 2 separate plants in the same turn. But, on the other hand, with Sarah up, we should kind of be fine. We have a Gravediggers and a Brigadine to trigger Sarah with. We can get rid of the T-kaboo on the following turn here if we'd really want to. But we'll stick to what we have. We do have an Ash in hand as well. And they scoop it up! My god, is TRAPTRIX going to go undefeated this easily? This is incredible. Let's go for game 3. Alright, game 3 up against James, or however on earth that's meant to be. As we're going to go first. Yeah, we're going to go for the Dionia. Obviously not doing anything here as there's no monster in the graveyard, but we will just go ahead and make Sarah. Sarah being our best girl. We are going to go ahead and we're going to set 3, trying to avoid Mech Knights. I've seen a lot of Mech Knights players today, and we're just going to pass turn on that. Set 3, Sarah pass seems to be our very traditional play here. They have pitched the Orcus Nightmare. Oh, boy, this is going to be wacky. Okay, so this is going to get really, really weird here. We need him to summon a machine so we can try and banish as much as possible. He's going to go to battle phase with the Greffer. I am... Oh, this sucks. I really don't want to have to do this, but I am going to compulse the Greffer. This, of course, will trigger Sarah. Sarah will then bring out... We don't have a whole trap card either. This really sucks. We're going to go for the Mantis here. Mantis is going to be able to bounce one of our cards back to hand, which is hopefully going to trigger Sarah before it's too late. Orcust is a little difficult for us because he is going to bring out the Greffer again. He's going to normal summon the Greffer this time, which I find to be fine. He's going to go for the Orcust play immediately. That's a strange one. Okay, that is a machine. You got me. Yep. If he is going straight into Galatea here, I think that's our call. Because the high chances are he's going straight into Galatea, and then we summon Nightmare and banish both of them. Verte Anaconda is not what I expected. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. We don't have anything to stop that, actually. Of course, here's DPE. You know, the card that everybody expects. There he is, DPE. I think at this point we are actually going to do this. I should have probably done this before we summoned DPE, to be honest, but that's fine. We're going to return this. We're going to set one. This is going to trigger Sarah. Sarah is then going to set Floodgate. He's probably going to pop the Floodgate now, to be honest here. I would at least assume that he does. He does not. Okay, very interesting. Yep. Set 3 pass. My goodness. Okay, he is going for the destruction here. What would you like to target, sir? Going for the IDP. That's unfortunate. This also means our Gravediggers now unfortunately does not get the trigger because we decided to pick it up and I did not think he'd go this hard on it. Alright, he is back. Unfortunately. I do think we are going to Pot of Prosperity here, and we're probably going to choose to banish 3. We're going to get rid of the 1 Elamaris. Exciting Knight is actually really good still, so I am going to keep that. We're going to get rid of... Oh, this is hard. We're going to get rid of 1 Culinera, and we're going to get rid of... Probably Borrelsword. We're never going to be able to reach Borrelsword at this point. Imperial Order is going to get flipped. Kind of expected. That's really annoying. I suppose it's fine. He is locking himself out of doing it as well, so it's not a super big deal. If we attempt to Excite Knight here, he is most likely just going to kill us, but we're going to go for the Shade Brigandine anyway. That gets impermanenced. Interesting. We are still going to trigger this, though. Sarah is going to go off here. We're going to get a Phoenix Enforcer trigger, killing the Sarah. But that does allow us to bring Myrmelio into the mix. Myrmelio effect is going to destroy the back row there. That is fine. We know he's going to come back. It's kind of irrelevant. We're getting another Impermanence, which to us is actually kind of fine. Now, the real question is, what do we bring out off of this? I kind of want to go into Redoer, just so we can start snatching cards away from him. Because that's a good option, too. I think that is realistically our best option, just to go into Redoer. And with Redoer, start snatching some cards. We'll go over the Verte. We'll go main phase 2. We will set ourselves the Gravedigger's Trap Hole here. If he does attempt to destroy the Redoer, then we do have a way around it. We will, during the standby phase, of course, he comes back. Here we will actually go for the Floodgate, which is going to force him to face down, which is going to force him to destroy a card. We will let him do that. And here we will Gravedigger's Trap Hole. This prevents him from ever coming back. And it deals 2,000 to our opponent. Unfortunately here, we are sitting ducks at this point. But it is... Oh, and he draws into Gizmek. Oh, boy, that's like the best top deck he could have gotten. That's disgusting, the fact that he actually pulls out Gizmek. The thing is, he is actually dead in 2 turns here. Unless we get OTK'd right here, he is going to die. But I do believe we do get OTK'd here because we kind of had to blow up our entire board to actually do anything here. Which really sucks. Crescendo gets that. Not surprised. The question is, does he keep Galatea on board for the Crescendo, or does he avoid it? We are going to take a hefty chunk of damage here, definitely putting us below half. We draw a Shade Brigadine. We're just going to set this, we're going to pass to our opponent. They now have to pay 700, and we win the game off of Imperial Order. Man, that got really close, but that sort of shows the grind game in this as well, because we do manage to outboth the DPE 3 times, basically. That was insane. I loved that game. Winning off of his own Imperial Order feels like a little bit of a hollow victory, but hey, you know what? He activated it. We'll take it. Let's round this thing up. So, 3-0 with TRAPTRIX, huh? I can't believe it myself, but I think that goes to show that this deck still has potential to this day. A lot of decks in the current format are not apt at dealing with a lot of back row. There are very, very few decks that carry any sort of back row negation, Dogmatica being probably the only one in terms of Mechaba, because Mechaba, you know, if you have a trap card in hand, you can negate a trap card. But even then, there's not a lot that deals with it, and even fewer people these days are running back row removal because back row is not as prominent. The only time it really is prominent is, again, against Dogmatica playing something like Schism. This is insane. Like, you have a shell of a deck where you can really expand into basically whatever you'd want it to be, right? You could slap in Eldritch and it would probably work. You could stick it to just playing pure TRAPTRIX and not even run Heavenly Prison. That would probably work too. There's just a lot of good routes with this. If you are looking to play a heavy control deck that focuses very much on traps, TRAPTRIX is probably the way to go. If you don't want to do that, Eldritch is your second option. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this episode, do remember to leave a comment down below for the algorithm, because the algorithm hates me. Leave a like down below for the exact same reason. Do consider supporting me on YouTube or Patreon. And as always, remember to stay safe out there. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. This is never happening again.